I think when you look at a challenger brand and you're trying to think about the characteristics, I'm not sure you could necessarily say, well, the characteristics of a challenger brand are this or that. What actually happens in an industry is there is a change from one order to the next order. It's a little like the dinosaurs dying and being replaced by the sort of next evolution, whatever that is. And if you take retail, for example, is a great example of constant challenge and constant change. And yet people describe retail as a terrible industry to be in, and they correlate that with some of the more difficult negative stories that are in the papers at the moment around retail brands, but they don't focus on some of the challenging brands that are rapidly emerging and being successful. And what these challenging brands are doing, say in retail, is they're not necessarily, it's a shop, but actually the product is different, the way they engage with their customers is different, the way they engage with their staff is different. Maybe there is a constraint on innovation and being a challenger brand because people fear failure more than actually they want success. It's a sort of trend towards mediocrity that I think tends to put people off being challengers. A challenger brand does not have to be life-changing. It doesn't have to be transformational in terms of, yesterday it was widgets and today it's, widgets with whatever on top. I think it can be transformational. I think, it's about taking something and asking yourself why you can't do it slightly differently. If you look at Shortlist Media, which is a company we featured previously, they took a very traditional product, a magazine, and completely transformed the way that it was delivered, completely challenged the convention around putting great content with great advertising into a free magazine, which everybody said couldn't be done. I think if you look at what consumers are looking for today, they're not just looking for price, they're looking for an affinity, something that works for them, something that reflects their lifestyle, something which can appeal to them, that they feel an affinity with. And I think you're going to see that come through much more strongly in businesses. People talk a lot about Apple, but they forget the fact that Apple, 25 years ago was a challenger. Microsoft dominated the market and Apple was a challenger brand. Nobody thinks about Apple today as a challenger brand, but think about the way they sell their products. Go into an Apple store, it is very distinct and very different, and it just feels very, very different to the way that any form of electrical goods are retailed, either in the UK or the US for that matter. So even as a big established brand, probably the world's most successful company, they are innovating and challenging, but not on price. I mean, you don't get an Apple cheap. The reality is that they're innovating around design, lifestyle, capability, how it changes it's a soft bunch of elements that really appeal to the consumer, that I want an Apple product. So I think you can innovate, but you can innovate around what your customer wants and create a loyalty and an experience that people will come back for.